What's up folks, welcome to Wasted Space, back with some Airsoft, and we're in the workshop today because I have a super simple way of making scope protectors for you that means you can avoid this rubbish. The Perspex, 15 bucks a piece, flip up scope protector things. You guys have seen these, right? They sit on the front of the gun like that and noticeably shatter every single time they get hit, meaning you got to spend another 10, 15 bucks on another one of these silly little replacement screens. So instead of that, today we are going to make something out of this lovely material. This is Lexan, which is used in RC car body shells. This is where I know it from. So the body shells that take the pounding on the RC cars is made out of this stuff. And it's also used in things like speedboat windscreens. So optically, it's pretty good, nice and clear once you strip it back. And you can pick up a sheet of this off Amazon or eBay for very, very little. As I said, 7 to 10 bucks, I reckon, for a decent sized sheet of this stuff. And then with a pair of scissors and some sort of round object about the size of your scope. So I actually had a scope to do, that's why we're doing this video today. And round objects about the same size, like that. We're going to be able to cut this out, get it in there. You don't even really need to fit these things in, fix them in with anything, if you do it sort of at the right sizes. But if you've got a hot glue gun, that's going to help as well. And between all of those things, we're going to make ourselves scope protectors that can't be broken. You will never break one of those scope protectors. They bend so much, they just take the punishment. And the same trick can be used to make torch protectors. I like this one because this one I stick around corners and let them waste all their BBs trying to shoot out the screen. That's always quite fun. Or even, if you're a bit more creative, protectors for things like the hollow I've got on the gun back here, which are a different shape. They're a bit more difficult to cut, but can still be done, and means that you don't have to fall into this horrible cycle of buying these nasty, nasty things over and over and over again, or worse, losing one of your scopes. So, to the workshop. So for today's demonstration, I'm going to be doing this scope because the one that was in there popped out, fell out last time I was down there. I only had it pressure fit in, which you can get away with most of the time, but you can also glue the things in, which we'll be doing today. And so I want to make a fresh one for this. The first step was to get something that matches up pattern-wise, gives me a little template to cut that size, because as you can see, it's all at an angle. It'd be quite difficult to do just by eye or by trying to draw around it. So top of a 35mm film canister apparently is about right, although I need to go a little bit loose in there, so I need to go a bit larger. But that'll do as a template. Some other items you can do, like torches in particular, you can just unscrew the top of this and get a perfect template of what it is you need to cut out. Draw around it, get it exact. Same with this sniper scope, for example. A lot of sniper scopes actually have undoable caps depending on how they're filled. So that one's nice and easy. Never ever try and undo one of these, however, to put something in place of that screen, because not only is that screen made of a special glass, special material, it won't work if you replace it, but also you'll never ever get this thing back together again. But we'll move on to that at the end. First things first, let's cut ourselves a quick template for this. Use the most efficient amount of Lexan I can, right up to the edge. And this is the benefit, you know, one of these sheets will cut you, what, 20 scopes, it's 20 scope protectors, depending on how many you actually need. And then it's super simple. I have special Lexan scissors. The only difference between these and normal kitchen scissors are they're quite sharp, and I'd expect your kitchen scissors to be quite sharp, but these are ever so slightly curved. And with cutting the circles, that does help, but you can use kitchen scissors. It makes no difference, and this stuff cuts super easy. So I'm just going to follow the line sort of down the center so that I don't cut it too small. And as you can see, it's not hard to cut this stuff. You can even get away with, like, if you score it relatively deeply, you can actually tear it as well, but that can go wrong. It's good on RC car body shells for doing long runs, like long distances, but on something like this, not so much. Let me flip this over and do this from the back because we can just about see through. And any sort of imperfections here can be trimmed down. All you want to do is make sure that you don't cut it kind of too small. If you cut it too small, obviously you can't put material back on again. It's going to mean that it's going to be quite difficult to glue in, whereas as long as you get it just a little bit too large, you can work around that, and to some extent it can actually help because it means you can pressure fit the thing in there. So that is by far my best circle ever. That's, as I said, you can always tidy up a little bit afterwards. Let's trim these edges off because I can see how bad it is in places. And just there. So there we go, and that should at the very least be close to the sort of shape we want to get in there. So you can see it's sort of starting to fit. It's a bit large, but you can always trim it down, and sometimes if you get it just the right amount of too large, you can pressure fit it in there. So let me work away at this a little more. So trim things down. How are we looking? Yeah, so now we're at the point where actually I could just physically bend this thing into position and it's going to stay in there just fine. I reckon that would do. It gives you the protection you need, but that's a bit on the rough and ready side. So for ours, let's pop that back out there and we're going to glue this one in. So for that I need to trim it down a tiny bit more. If I was to line this up just right, it looks like it would be a great pressure fit at the moment. You've got to tuck that edge in, kind of push it up into there. A lot of scopes will just let you do this and just let you push a slightly too large protector, because Lexan will bend so easily, let you push a slightly too large protector in there. Ready for live stabbing on camera? Nah, not today I'm afraid. No stabbing this time round. So let's trim this down a tiny bit further so it fits a bit better. So, not my best circle, but as you can see, that in fact would be perfect pressure fit. So I could just peel back this cover now. I've left the cover on the other side, but I could perfectly pressure fit that in, and as you can see, that's not about to go anywhere. But with a dab of hot glue, we can make things a bit more permanent. And normally, you can see there's a tiny gap at this bottom edge where you can get something sharp to get underneath and get the damn thing out. So I don't think I'm going to cut this down any further. That was really quite a nice fit. So all I'm going to do is make sure we've taken our covers off. If you want to give it a quick clean at this point, because you're about to sort of set things in place a little more permanently, then this is the time. And then everyone's friend, the hot glue gun. And all I'm going to do is try and pop a tiny blob on the side there, and then quick as you like, and run it around the edge so that you don't get that string getting out too badly and getting stuck to the lens. And then drop another one on the side. And then if you're quick enough, again, run it up the sides, get that little stringy bit out of the way so it doesn't block your vision. Grab your bit and just pop her into place. And with a bit of pressure, it'll sit down. Got my finger stuck underneath. It'll sit down onto that hot glue, which is going to hold it in place really nicely. We can clear up all of this sort of little bits that are overhanging. But you can see that's in there now. Good and proper. It's not about to come out. That hot glue is going to hold it in there for us. And I think we're about ready to go and give her a test. See quite how many rounds that quite admittedly quite rough and ready looking protector can take. As I said, if I'd done this slightly nicer, ever so slightly better, and you guys can spend obviously more time on it than I can, I would have got that bottom edge, that bottom lip to just come in perfectly as well. It's overhanging ever so slightly, and that's a little annoying, but whatever. You guys can do a better job than I just did. This was just for demonstration. Just before we go down to shoot some stuff at this, let's talk about these puppies, because these puppies are a bit more annoying. So the first thing I would recommend is if you unscrew this section here, and both of those screws there and those screws there, this top shroud comes off completely to get you out, allow you to get at this bottom section a bit better. And then it's basically just a case of making yourself a template that fits over there. So I happen to have done one earlier, so you can see a bit of card, cut it down, doesn't take very long, and you can just get something that's going to sit there quite nicely. And then again, with the hot glue, or even a little bit of tape wrapped around on the inside, you can hold exactly the same stuff there in a way that, what's the worst that's going to happen? You're going to lose a piece of this plastic that, in that size chunk, couple of pence, couple of cents, you know, it's way better than losing, either breaking one of those expensive Lexan, plexiglass things like this and having to buy a whole new one, or breaking your damn scope. So let's go out and see how things go with our newly fitted protector. So the Lexan did a pretty damn good job of protecting it. It's going to do the same job for you. I've been using this trick for years now, and really it does stand up to the punishment, especially if you've got one like this where it can't do what it did to me, where it pops out. There's a few scopes where you've got to glue it in or pressure fit it in, And on those, the worst thing that can happen is the protector pops out. You've got to maybe replace it if you don't notice, but they cost nothing. You know, it's a few pence, a few cents per one, because that big sheet doesn't cost you very much. So if you're interested in getting your hands on some Lexan, I'll link the information about it down below. Probably can't link a site for everybody's country, but at least I can describe what it is you're looking for. And trust me, it's really easy to come by. You won't have any problems picking it up online. And as you've seen, it is super easy to fit into your scopes. All the more so if you get something like this, where you've got something you can easily screw it into, or in this case, a little molded thing that you can put it in. So I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. If you did, please hit that like button. It really does help me in the channel out. If you didn't like it, fancy me doing something else, dislike button is right next door. Slam away on that by all means. And if you're new to the channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Plenty more Airsoft content coming up, as well as plenty more gaming content. Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me. I'll see you for the next one.
Oh, good hit. Can I come and get it? Good shot, sir. Right clip the front of the helmet. Well played. That actually went in the room. Nice. Not that I can see it.